Hey, you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Stop looking back. You're not going that way. You've heard it before. The windshield is bigger than the rearview mirror for a reason, because your focus should be forward. I want to talk to you guys a little bit today about how you looking at your past, focusing on the past, is preventing you from moving forward. I wrote a story about 10 years ago. My son, Connor, was only 5 years old, and I was teaching him how to ride a bike. It was a funny story because every time he'd look back, as I let him go, he'd run into bushes, he'd fall on the grass, he'd be all over the place because his focus was behind him and not forward. And I kept saying, Connor, stop looking at me. You're gonna keep falling. Like, you are going to keep falling, running into bushes, falling on the ground if you keep looking at me. Trust yourself. Focus forward. And as soon as he stopped looking back, as soon as he focused forward, he was off and riding. It was a wonderful thing because, to be so young and to learn how to ride a bike the way that he did, he wanted to keep up with his big brother, Caden. And after he learned to stop looking behind him, he was soaring. And it was awesome to watch. Well, years later, I found myself continuing to look behind me. I looked at my past. I looked at my past mistakes. I looked at all the things that I had failed from. And I allowed those things to continue to keep me in this vicious cycle of failure. It was a vicious cycle of messing up, a vicious cycle of addiction, a vicious cycle of ruining relationships, businesses, friendships, jobs. And it was tough. Now, to be quite honest, it was really tough because I continued to blame everything and everyone around me instead of taking extreme accountability. And instead of continuing to pick at those scabs and hoping that they healed, instead of doing that, I started to look forward. I started to eliminate the mindset of focusing on my past. Because one thing I realized is that the more that I focused on my past, the more guilt, the more shame, the more I tormented myself. And I would even self-sabotage opportunities because I thought that's what I deserved. Is that you? Is that you today? Are you making those same mistakes? Are you tormenting yourself by focusing on the past? Are you rehearsing all of the things and the mistakes that you've made in the past, the things that might have happened to you? Are you rehearsing those things? Are you continuing this vicious cycle? You've got to begin to let go. Just like my son had to allow me to let him go on that bike, you have to let yourself go. You have to let those things in the past go, not just from your actions, but from your mind. Because that is the only way you're going to be able to push forward and move forward. The windshield is greater than the rearview mirror. Your eyes face forward. It's time for you to let go. It's time for you to soar. It's time for you to stop picking at the scabs. Allow yourself to heal. You deserve a better life, and you know it. But you've got to let go. Fail forward.